where are we going to be playing? Let's go ahead and find out, why don't we? And go through that map veto stage.
Well, we have Villa and Bank, similar to early bans, auto bans in this case, but wonder if we'll get maybe a repeat of Clubhouse, one of the other popular maps. Coastline, or Consulate to go next. Cafe, no surprise there. Consulate has been as banned. Border, not a hugely popular map either, but Clubhouse still available here, so likely to be Coastline it is. A map that just doesn't get played very much for this region.
But I guess it's going to be here.
It was played by INTZ once versus NIP. 6-6 draw.
So they've got some record on it. That's something. And even if it's a draw, I mean, that's better than a loss, I suppose, for some teams. Given INTZ's current situation, not really. Whereas on the side of Liquid, they've got a 100% win rate, having only played it once.
Yeah, they played it against Elevate. So, yeah.
So, 81% there for Liquid. You guys are pretty confident that they're going to lock that out?
I mean, I pretty much agree with that, but I still feel like Liquid have their off days, too.
They do really have their off days.
If INTZ has a pretty on day, it's possible.
Of course, this is just really a fan vote for sometimes, and Liquid is one of the more popular teams in Latin America, so it makes sense why we'd see them have such a high percentage in a map like or a match like this. With the stakes as high as they are, though, I imagine INTZ is probably going to be putting up something pretty significant here because they don't want to leave their fate in MIBR's hands.
No, definitely not. They definitely want to lock that down. Like I said, we saw what happened with the EG and Rec. Obviously, that was a little more at stake in the sense of like going to Japan, but I mean, getting relegated out and having to possibly go through Challenger League again would be a pretty big deal for INTZ if they ended up in that situation. It would be somewhat their own fault in that sense.
Challenger League is rough this time of year. For every single region, it really is something you don't want to be finding yourself in. If you're a Pro League team that gets relegated, often it will put you in so far back that it's really hard to recover.
Well, it used to only be 3 months. Now with it being 6 months that you're out, you can end up pretty cold as a team and have trouble getting back in. I mean, you take, for example, a team like Rise that has not even been like necessarily topping Challenger League where they're at, in NA. So it's sometimes when you lose it, you don't necessarily get it back like that.
I mean, Secret's similar in Europe right now. They're not having the
Very
best.
Good point.
They're not having the best season in Europe, but yeah. So the point is just like as a Pro League team, you get relegated, and you don't just have to fight back through Challenger League to get to Pro League. You have to actually like compete in Challenger League, then maybe get to Pro League. That's kind of the story.
I mean, and the thing you always hope for is to at least be able to scrim the Pro League teams. Being a former Pro League team yourself, to try and like keep yourself as competitive as possible, so you don't just kind of get used to the Challenger League meta and then struggle through relegations to get back into Pro League because you're not in that meta anymore.
Right. Well, we'll see if INTZ can bounce their way out of their current situation.
Yeah, we're just waiting on one player, or two. I'm sorry, two
players.
One player from each team.
We're waiting on 2 players.
Yeah, it's a little slow in getting in, it looks like.
Because the didn't have how long was that break?
I think it was a little shorter than usual. So that might have been
shorter than usual for Latin America. Yeah. But so we wait, and once we have everybody ready, we'll go ahead and jump into that match. Once we've got everything started up, it's gonna be interesting. The Coastline again, we talked about it, doesn't get played a lot in Latin America, so maybe it'll be something different for us today.
I mean, in previous seasons, it was a pretty good map for Liquid as well.
And it is, of course, this is one of the matches that actually has some influence on the outcome of the overall season, so it's relevant, right? And that because of that, we're going to see probably some more intense gameplay than what we might see in some of the other matches today. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what the attacker bans will be, because, for example, banning a Heartbreacher doesn't matter as much on this map. The one we do see occasionally sometimes is a Habana, which does matter for, say, Hookah if you're trying to open up the wall behind the bar, but doesn't always happen. And we know this is a region that doesn't seem to like to open a lot of hard walls all that much.
It depends on the situation, right? Like, I mean, and that it ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
this map especially
recently,
doesn't need it.
Yeah, recently it's been weird for them. And this map, this is the type of map you can play in any region, for that matter, without any hard destruction. You don't need it 9 times out of 10.
I hope we get some creative attacker bans. We had Capital left available last match. He's pretty strong on this map as well, so it definitely could be something we see banned. But I don't know. It'll be interesting, just because the metas are very different on these regions. And
well, I mean, on Coastline overall, as much as we don't see it get played here, Capital is like that ban that you were talking about being, so prevalent on a lot of maps. He's mostly banned on Coastline as well. He's the #1 banned attacker for this map.
So yeah, will they leave it? Won't they? We also see occasionally teams leave Mira unbanned. It's not common. It's pretty rare, but it does happen, and then that can change a little bit about Penthouse and the delivery part of Kitchen, things like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always happen. It's one of those interesting things where it's like we don't even sometimes see it played when it's left available, just because so out of the meta right now.
Yeah.
And the Maestro Echo thing as well on this map can be interesting if one of them is left available. Say a Valkyrie ban takes the place of one of them. So that you end up with the Mira and then, either Maestro Echo are left available. The Echo play, especially on this map, could be pretty strong because roamers already have a struggle as it is, but you give them a mobile camera and the ability to deny without having to throw smokes. It can become interesting. Not always, but also those Maestro Evil Eyes definitely make a difference on this map. Although, it's not too hard to take out a lot of them just because they're pretty standardized in their placements now.
Yeah, well, they're as standardized as Echo placements are. I mean, the only thing is that whether or not you have a Jaeger to cover the Maestro Evil Eyes.
Or an IQ to take out the Yokais.
Yeah, if you're looking at the other side of the things, there's different layers, different counters to each one, and usually the counters are always available to be played into either the Maestro or the Echo. But all that said, we finally have everybody in the lobby, so we're going to go ahead and load in and get started here. Coastline loads in, so it's INTZ on attack, Liquid on defense, and we will begin. Well, ban phase starts out here with Liquid since they are on defense. Who are they going to get rid of, I wonder?
Yeah, this, as I said, should be the more interesting part of the bans here. Should be the attacker ones.
Depending. I imagine so.
I always hope so, at least. Because the defender bans, not usually as varied. Sometimes we see a Buck banned as well, just because he can be pretty influential on this map. The vertical play.
It's been rarely banned here.
A Lion, well, that happens too.
Speaking of rare.
Yeah.
It does happen, but it is not common.
Always funny to see Liquid of all teams banning Lion.
Which means probably we're definitely gonna have one really influential attacker available because of that. One of the typically banned, two even, as Dokkaebi gets banned.
All right. So that means roam play should be a little bit better, although this still leaves Nomad and Jackal and Gridlock to help lock those down a little bit. Now we get to the defender bans. Echo to go. So, will they go with Mira or Maestro? I'm thinking Mira, but you never know. Could keep it interesting for us here. It's definitely going to affect a bit here, although it could even get a wild card with the Valkyrie, but nope. So Mira going to be available. That is somewhat impactful on this map. I mean, there are definitely other maps where that could be a big pivot, but this is one where it does affect a few sites, and I would like to see people try Penthouse some more, when it's available. It's definitely been figured out a little bit, and with the Capital play, it can actually make it a little bit harder to play those Mira windows, depending on how you play them. So we'll see. But that Jackal you mentioned will get played along with the Gridlock, so they are definitely going to have some roam control here, especially with the other two roam control operators. But no, Bort, is he going to 6th pick into that? He might just be teasing the Monty to 6th pick into the Gridlock, which makes sense. Wants to hide that. Sexy also hiding the Warden behind a Frost of all things. They're just trying to keep it interesting with those 6 picks. I appreciate it. The Warden play, though, definitely he's going to be playing that site lockdown. I got to imagine you don't really play that for roam for the most part.
It's going to be Billiards. Hookah defended first here. Pretty standard stuff.
Yeah. I definitely want to see how Sex Cake's going to play this, because we're always curious about how Warden's going to be played, what the impact might be.
Warden's an interesting operator. We've seen him used effectively in Pro League once, maybe, and that was by Laxing on the server stairs of Bank. Other than that, we haven't seen a whole lot from him, at least not that I know of. Of course, I don't cast every single match, but
not a lot of successful. I mean, Canadian tried, but
for the most part, Warden doesn't do a whole lot, even when he's brought. So we'll see if Sexy Cake can change that. Add some kind of influence, some reason to bring him more. Laxing really popularized him with his play on server stairs, and that's the sort of stuff that gets operators starting to get to have, I'd say, perceivably bad abilities actually used so that they can prove that wrong. And it's definitely possible that Warden has some amazing uses, and we've seen a few pocket examples of that throughout his short history so far in Pro League.
Also, a bit of a Latin American prevalent operator, Finca, being brought here by Intact, I believe that is. It's one we don't see terribly often, but it is one that Latin America, of all teams, will definitely bring a bit more than others. I mean, the Twitch also, maybe not as common as it used to be, but that shows a little aggression here. The fact that they are bringing a Twitch and a Finca But then the Gridlock and the Jackal work together, so you start to clear with the aggressive operators, and then you take control of the areas to be able to find the roamers and at least find out whether or not they're in the area via the Jackal, then lock that down with the Gridlock. I like that idea, especially if you're going to play the Buck from below. You want to clear below early, but we see 2 roamers downstairs, so definitely something they're going to have to worry about. But we're also trying to help clear. They're just looking to take as much map control as possible right now, and then from there figure out where the players are. But Dud's already using an F2 to take down Nesk of all people, and that's the Smoke, who shouldn't be taken out so early, but this is a region that does tend to have a lot more roaming smokes. VNX following that up on a Sexy Cake. This is looking like a really good start from INTZ, surprisingly, as they have yet to take any damage on this, and having picked off 2 of their stronger players. Although PSK able to trade back onto Drunks. Duds gets Paulo, though, a huge advantage here in a 4v2 for INTZ. However, Moringa bringing it down to a 3v2. This could go either way, but at least INTZ have had a strong start. Moringa and PSK have a lot of work to do, and VNX takes out one of them. Now all down to PSK to clutch this out, and he's going to have a good start of that, especially with Duds and VNX down on the health, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Duds again finds another kill with that F2. Nicely done from INTZ. Starting off strong on a map that does kind of swing towards Liquid a bit more, I would say.
It certainly does in terms of their record, but of course there's always time to change that, and that time is now. So good start there from INTZ to begin things on their attacking side, and well, Coastline has been known to be one of the less consistent maps in terms of side favor. It tends to swing with the meta, you know, defense, then back to attack, then back to defense, so at least a little bit. Relative to other maps, of course. I don't even know if we've actually gone entirely attacker side ever before, but in relatively speaking, again. But, yeah, good start there for INTZ, no matter how you look at it, no matter how you shake it up.
Yeah. I like the board, just continuing the 6-pick to different roam control operators, too. It's interesting.
We'll be going back to Billiards, as you can see. And Liquid just thinking they need to improve upon some of what happened through that last round in order to recover.
They are going to have at least a little bit of denial here with the Mozzie and the Mute together. Maybe that's something that will slow down INTZ's take. But neither of those will necessarily affect Jackal. I mean, technically Mute affects him a little bit, but overall Jackal should still be able to roam clear pretty well, despite the drones being denied to an extent.
Yep. Now, Billiards is the go-to site for many teams, but the fact that Liquid are going to be sticking to it after that loss is, you know, just them trying to iron out the mistakes made in the last round. It's certainly possible that that can be done. Overall, we've got pretty top-heavy scoreline in the first round for INTZ. Only 2 players actually contributing through that. But that, of course, leaves the other 3 open to contribute in this round, and that could be even worse for Liquid. INTZ is one of those teams that has not had an amazing season, but they have proven themselves to be very capable from time to time.
Well, Duds had a pretty good round last time. I love that shark skin. That's still like my favorite skin for the F2. Like an old one, but it's a good one.
It was one of the original, actually cool-looking skins.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely going to at least put some pressure on as he did last round. But they've got to get into the map and start pushing things. They are doing that. Drone's gone out and making sure that they can clear from the office side first, it looks like.
My air jab is deployed.
Boy, with some good coverage here from the air jabs. And it's going to be the retake of the blue bar, denied. Solid thing to do there. Gives you some really good control. As you're going to be able to open up from below now, but Nesk will retake into office regardless of the air jabs. Clearly a gap left there on the drop down. Now he's just going to be trying to, well, maybe take one more with him because he's committed himself to death effectively. But, oh, he takes the air jab route. Instead of shooting it, just running into it, and that's risky business, but he is not punished for it. So this all working out for Nesk in the end. That's a huge mistake there from INTZ.
Especially with the Nomad dead now, that might have been the only air jab around. So their roam play should be a lot more effective, especially if they could pick off VNX and take out the ability for Jackal to track anyone. It could be Liquid just kind of running circles around them, especially in a circular map as it is.
Well, Liquid still on a deep roam horizontally. Light anchor play here, but it doesn't matter because they've managed to deal with the people clearing in downstairs. They now know that the take has to change a little bit here for INTZ in order for them to recover this round. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be tricky, but INTZ can certainly bring this back. It's going to be an aqua take. And the reason this is dangerous and tricky is because the C4 now can be effectively used downstairs by the defenders. All they need to do is drop because there's no one watching downstairs. That was the Nomad's job. He set up the air jabs. He was also supposed to watch to deny C4. The Valkyrie cam in aqua is going to give great information to Nesk, who will use the smoke through the wall. Palu will take down Duds, and Nesk actually gets a kill in that smoke through the wall. Impressive. VNX rushing Cocktail, but he'll die to Palu as well. And there's the final kill for Palu. A flawless round from Team Liquid, and a nice answer back to the first.
Definitely something that benefited a lot, I think, from the kill on the Nomad early on, just being able to roam a lot more. I mean, Board didn't do a whole lot as the gridlock the first round, and I could understand why then he switched over to the Nomad, thinking he'd be more effective, and technically he was in the sense that one of his air jobs at least went off, but the fact that his teammates weren't there to cover, and who knows, maybe he was supposed to be the one watching his own air jabs, that really didn't benefit them a whole lot, and Duds, of course, not being able to find any kills with that F2 certainly didn't help the round. They are possibly going to go with a Capitao this round here for Kitchen, which is pretty good. Being able to even potentially push delivery with that smoke without having to worry about ADS is pretty helpful, especially when you're not bringing the Thatcher, of course. We'll see 6 picked over to an Alibi here from Sexgate. Interesting. And then a Zofia instead of a Buck.
Protect your bombs from
Now, I got to imagine they were probably anticipating this site, though, and at least prepared for it, not thinking it's going to be, you know, bar or penthouse. So I got to imagine those operator picks were geared towards this particular site.
Now, Liquid, Kitchen, so far, nothing crazy about the site selection, the rotation, just typical here. The Rook instead of the Dock. A lot of teams prefer the active heal, but the Rook at least guarantees the down from the nades, which are there on the inside of things. No Mira being brought, which is interesting, given the ban phase. But, I mean, you can also, when Mira's unbanned, you can also go to Penthouse as a site. It's viable.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, that's why Duds has been running Twitch this whole match so far.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's surprising that this site especially, they wouldn't bring the Mira.
Yeah, Kitchen is really good for Mira. I mean, it's one of her best sites. Kitchen and Penthouse both.
Especially when they were playing partially soft wall anyways on it. They're playing one hard wall, one soft wall on that delivery, and it's like that's where Mira even makes the most sense.
But she's not going to be brought here.
Yep.
That's an interesting use of the lifeline there from Drunks. Did not get the barbed wires too far back. We still have roamers upstairs from Team Liquid, despite the drop downs getting opened up here. INTZ are trying to clear out the top floor, but it's not going to be easy for them to make that happen. Well, considering how much emphasis Liquid are placing on that roam. Pablo's also been really landing his shots there on the Jaeger, so I'm sure he can affect a lot of change upstairs.
Well, things at least slowed down here a little bit. They're going to have to try and start taking this top floor here, but there is going to be someone in VIP to contest this. So Duds, while giving away his position a little bit, he is, in theory, having the advantage in gunplay potentially here, but he is not droning. He's just face-checking it, and, well, unfortunately for Paula, who doesn't really check at all, just walks right into it. But now Theater is going to be prepared to see the open wall as well. Unfortunately for Duds, just barely missing the head.
Duds looking for that second engagement. Palu losing that fight, and he usually doesn't, honestly. And there you go. That's the second engagement. It comes at the flank as Nesk was attempting to retake Hall of Fame away from Duds, but he's not missing his shots with that F2. And VNX isn't with his C7E downstairs. He'll get 2 there. Another attempted flank from the final player of Team Liquid, but he can't find anyone anymore. So it's a shift to his site take here for the attackers, which makes sense considering there's only one defender. Boar is likely to get picked up, and yeah, there he is. He's back in play. The only question is this going to be a flawless round, or is PSK going to give us one of the best clutches of the season?
Boar is definitely pickable, but doesn't matter. Nicely done. A good flank there, and a flawless round. Pretty big surprise here. It definitely wasn't the site here, and some of that was just the roam game really not being on point. I mean, they would have been better off with the Mozzie, I think, in that round, of course, to be able to deny those drones. But then again, you've got people like Duds just, I don't need a drone. I'm just going to face check everything with that F2, and it wins those fights. And that's enough. It's just Team Liquid seeming like they're struggling a little bit in terms of controlling the map in that regard. And I don't know, controlling the top floor just wasn't working for them as well as it was controlling the bottom floor when they were playing in Hookah. They're going to try Kitchen again, though, and maybe play it a little bit differently this time. We're going to see the Valkyrie to help with some intel. But again, surprising that they're not going to bring that Mira. because their site defense wasn't great, but that's also because they lost too many people off of it. But this has been pretty back and forth, as you mentioned here. Now, INTZ, though, in the driver's seat at the moment. Liquid, again, though, don't have necessarily as much to play for here. This won't really affect their standings. But INTZ want to lock down this spot. Definitely don't want any chance of going to relegation. So I think it's pretty important to them to get the 3 so they could just rest easy and know they have 6 more months of gameplay, at the very least.
And at the same time, if they do that, then that means that there are no actual... That would be the last of the meaningful matches except for the final one, which, you know, the only difference there is will NIP be going in first, or will FaZe be going in first?
Yeah.
So, yeah. We'll see what happens. But it could go either way.
Duds, as you mentioned, some of the best stats here, definitely looking pretty good at 5. Someone below him at 4 as well. But overall, in terms of like being top heavy versus even shooting the armor, you gotta love how many people don't take Rook armor in Pro League still. And I know that's a time management thing. They need to go do their roam or their setup. And teams have a lot of times pretty complicated setups.
How is that not an exploit? Do you see what he did there?
Yeah, it's just, you know, if they're gonna find it, they're gonna use it.
It looks like it doesn't see anything, but really what's going on there, I'm betting, is that he could probably mark people through it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so you eliminate its physical hitbox, so you can put the Valkyrie cam in it. Then the visual hitbox, or the visual thing there, the visual representation of the box is actually just, I guess, a graphic, so you can mark through that graphic.
It's like a sprite, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, there you go, a sprite. You're the actual game developer, so there you go.
Well, it interests me that we're not, I mean, like most other regions will bring IQ pretty consistently, and I know there's no Echo in play, but it's funny to not see that here. Instead, they'll bring a different yellow-colored operator with the Fika. Dud's finding one, though, with the F2, but the trades and trades and trades. Dud's still the one coming out ahead, almost.
Almost getting the triple
almost.
there. Palu, though, on low HP, and now INTZ have an advantage as they've cleared out the majority of the top floor, and Palu's position is well known. I'm sure they're wondering if he's still there. They're going to lifeline to probe, and they determine that he is, in fact, still in that corner. So pre-fires come out. Lots of missing going on here, but there it is. Drunks finally gets it. Careful play there from the attack paying off. Only a minute left, but that's plenty of time given the situation. It looks like it's going to be another INTZ round. Moringa probably has a lot of smokes left. There's not likely to be a C4. No, there is no C4 on Sexy Cake. He, in fact, has brought a deployable shield in. There was going to be, yeah, still 3 gas canisters from Moringa. So plenty of denial potential here. They got to be worried about the soft destruction from above. There's a little bit of damage done to Moringa as he's trying to dart around and avoid death here. Sexy Cake is holding on to a long angle that is going to cover half of the site, so Moringa can focus on holding either the kitchen door or the delivery door. It's unlikely the attack will split to both of them. So this is a really good dual effort here from Liquid, as they're covering all of their bases from 2 positions right now.
Yeah, I mean, you saw some of those pings coming out from the alibi, but just not enough members left to do anything.
They actually don't have anyone covering the kitchen window right now, so Moringa's got to be wary of that. Sexy Cake has to cover this, and he goes in to do just that. VNX hits the floor, and Moringa now faced with 2 fights here up close and personal. Shotgun brought out there, but he loses the fight to Drunks. Sexy Cake coming in for a flank, but it is likely heard. In fact, it will not be heard. Drunks looking the wrong way, goes down easily. And now it's just Boar in a 1v1, but post-plant here, he goes under repel, trying to get the most advantageous engagement possible. Sexy Cake knows he has limited time to work with, and he's got to make a decision. He hears the repel, expects it to be vertical. He's right. Tracers come in, so there's the aim, but it's the Claymore who's going to do damage, and Boar will finish off Sexy Cake on the transition to the floor. And there you go. INTZ take another round.
Definitely a bit sloppy on the plant coverage there, just, you know, losing too many people in an advantageous situation. But, hey, you know, when you have one person planting, it was technically a 2v2 at that point, and just, unfortunately, letting the plant get down there, obviously, in that situation, advantage to the attackers, but it was another round where Liquid lost too many people early on before they execute. They almost need to play a bit more turtle when it comes to kitchen. Their roam play on kitchen defense is costing them. I mean, their hookah defense is fine. It's kitchen and roam that just doesn't seem to work for Liquid. We'll see Boar again. He keeps changing it up. He's just being the flex player. You know, Nomad, Finka, the Gridlock. You just Actually, he wasn't even the Finka the first time, too. They're definitely trying to keep a little bit of variables going. And it's interesting to see because attackers often kind of standardize a bit more than defenders do a lot of times because defenders change per site, whereas attackers a lot of times don't as much. But Duds, of course, no reason to really change it. He's doing pretty good on the Twitch. I mean, he's getting at least 1-2 kills around, like minimum. So it's been working out pretty well. The Mozzie coming out again with the mute, though, is pretty good here. They can go back to Hookah now, so they will. And I got to wonder, though, what is the third bomb site here for Liquid? Because they probably would have been better off going to that than Kitchen a second time. So now 3-1 is looking pretty good for INTZ. I didn't expect to see that, but it is the attacker side. And while this isn't technically an attacker-favored map, we do often see a bit more lean towards the attacker side, depending on the operator bans. And the attacker bans did benefit roaming, but the fact that Liquid are losing so many people doing that makes me think that wasn't hugely impactful to the way that INTZ are playing that roam control.
Well, to be honest, the bans were overall kind of weird. I mean, the Echo and Maestro, sure. Mira being in play on Coastline, weird. Not getting played in Coastline when available, weird. The Twitch is a hard counter, I agree, but it's also situational. There's layers to the ban phase that don't make a whole lot of sense, that's for sure. Duds has been really performing here, but he's going to go down early to PSK. Oh, nice long angle being used there.
That already changed the round outcome here. Just Duds going down early without being able to do any damage back.
Yeah, because he's been such an important player for his team so far through this match, and having him go like that, well, that's not great if you're INTZ. Now Team Liquid, strong advantage here. They have to keep it, though. They've been struggling through this match, that's for sure. Paulu's been a really standout performer, but he also is one of those players who's getting picked off a lot. So it's a hit and miss with him. In setting up to get some picks back to try and answer back to the early kill onto Duds. And Liquid are playing very safe. They're trying to avoid any possible risk. PSK actually is going for a peek outside on the window there, and he's going to get his second kill from that peek. There you go. As Intact goes down, he was on big window rappel. Got peeked from the pink bar or the pink sunrise bar window. Now, INTZ put in a corner here effectively, and that corner is Aqua. C4 from below will miss, so at least there's that for INTZ. They're not out of this yet.
Now, good intel there, having the camera as well to see this.
More throwing in those smokes, trying to cover the aggression, but it's going to be Nest with one down and a second down. Paulu finishes off Boar, but Nest gets his last round, and it's a flawless one for Team Liquid.
Yeah.
And you go 2 for them so far.
And both from Hookah, this seems to be the only site they're capable of defending at the moment. Swinging wide there on the smoke, though, wasn't necessarily the best play. I understand they're trying to stay out of shotgun range, but that didn't really matter. You saw the second kill from the shotgun. And they had an opportunity to kill him for a second there when the first player went down, and he was just realized he was too low on ammo to be able to fight that, as he was already moving away anyways. That was, yeah, that was a little bit sloppy on the push. Especially losing Duds early, you know, really, again, did not help. But Bar, I guess, is going to be the third site here. They've finally realized Kitchen is not the site for them. So I'm curious how well the roam will work for this, because you still have to control Hookah to an extent as well for this particular site. So if they spread out too much and lose Hookah control, I can see it working out for INTZ, especially if they're bringing the buck. Captow as well can make short work of players behind the bar that are always kind of a bit of a pain to get out.
Usually we see it's a roam clear upstairs, and then they open above the bar. But then at that point, it's taken so much time to clear the roamers, usually, that it's not the end of the world, and the anchors have adjusted. They've moved. But that's all just like what normally happens. Of course, it's the layers here.
Yeah.
So INTZ will begin with Terry likely taking top 4, then opening from above. Now there's going to be a battle back and forth throughout that whole thing, and then whoever has the man advantage. And if INTZ have good manpower, then they should be able to get a plant, especially considering how much smoke they're bringing here.
Yeah. I mean, definitely possible. There's nothing really to see through the smokes, because for once they're not bringing a Maestro. I mean, they can't bring a Maestro, and they're not bringing anything like... Oh, well, they could have a bulletproof camera on that dock. I didn't see real quick if Nesk had anything to be able to see through that. But this is maybe a round where the Warden would help if they could go for those smoke plants.
That's true. Another layer of being able to see through smokes. Good options available to the defense, I suppose, but that's not what they've decided to bring. There are a lot of options that are normally not available for both sides, and a lot of those options aren't being brought out.
At least the Capitao is.
Yeah, at least the Capitao and the Jackal are being brought here from
Yeah,
INTZ.
you gotta take advantage of those on this map, especially.
You know, a lot of people might be noting there's no hard breachers, of course, but again, we've said this before, we'll say it again. Coastline, doesn't really matter.
I like having at least one map that isn't just dependent on hard breachers. I mean, I still like it being a core fundamental part of the game, but I do like that there's, you know, one map that kind of changes that up a little bit.
Yeah. Palu spraying and nothing there. Just trying to be careful, I suppose. Team Liquid here on, well, solid time management, I suppose, in terms of delaying INTZ. Especially impressive considering that the Jackal is in play. It's still a top 4 clear, and here we go. Successful finally for INTZ. They have obtained control of above site. So the box will start opening up now, and that'll force the anchors to move. The question here is, will Liquid lose any players in the transition as they rotate their players from these anchor spots? Or will they simply persist as a 5 stack? I mean, if all 5 are live on the defensive side, then when it comes to the actual engagement, usually that will favor the defense in this site.
Yeah, it should definitely. I mean, especially with the dock in play as well, to be able to kind of keep everyone at full health for that. But I don't know, no one really seeming to engage each other. Again, Liquid was really losing too many people on the roam before. The fact that they haven't now is looking pretty good for them, but they did lose that Hookah control.
A little bit of damage done to Drunks there. Good job to Moringa to make that happen. Liquid still have solid control of their own site. 3 gas canisters to deny default plant. Even if the smokes come out, the gas canisters will counter those, and no plant will be easy. Well, it won't be easy to get a plant. There you go, though. Lead off kill. It's Boar onto Nesk. So that's a pick there onto, of all players, the Dock. Extra active healing gone. An attempted flank here from Palu. Jackal's here to try and stop him. VNX must hear this right now, and he'll peek it wide and win the fight. Meanwhile, Liquid racking up kills on the site. The plant has been denied. VNX is going to get his second, though, through the vertical. Sexy Cake will be down in blue and finished off by Duds, leaving just PSK. Now he's playing above, so he might be able to deny the plant, but he's got to contest VNX first, and he's just barely alive. A single bullet will kill VNX right now. PSK has to land that shot, though, in order for the denial to even happen. He'll rotate downstairs. Good rotation, but in open area, VNX has also rotated, and he will get that final kill. Good awareness from VNX to drop with his opponent.
So far, bottom floor sites just not working out for Liquid. Fortunately, they don't have an opportunity to try Penthouse, as that was the last defensive side. But INTZ looking pretty good. Again, they're the ones with a lot more to fight for here, but they're showing it. They're definitely fighting. And I don't feel like we're seeing Liquid show up in top form here. That's what I was saying before, is that could be the issue is, you know, if Liquid are having an off day and INTZ are having an on one, I don't know if INTZ are like having their most on day, but Liquid definitely don't seem like they're having one themselves. They're getting a little bit sloppy in a lot of these fights, just not necessarily controlling the map well, whether they roam or whether they don't. Just not working out great, and just a lot more gunfights being won. Duds, as you said, he's pretty focused and on, and that makes a difference here. Now that they're on attack, though, things could shift. We are going to see them bring IQ rather than things like Finka, and they're going to bring the Capitao as well instead of the Gridlock on that 6th pick. But INTZ are going to have to show some prowess here on attack, but interestingly, Bar the first defensive site for them. Or not on attack, I meant on defense.
So, double bar. Interesting. Usually teams go here as a 3rd or 2nd site.
Still a good site, though, at least. It's not like...
That's not bad.
It's not like Bar on Clubhouse.
The only site that I think most people think or consider to be bad these days is Penthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, so usually went to as the 3rd site. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Liquid just lost it, so
yeah, exactly.
It's interesting that they would go straight to that. But who knows? It could also be to throw off Liquid, who might be preparing for Hookah to be the first site.
Absolutely. I guess we'll find out. Liquid tasked with attacking to that site. Mira finally brought here. Liquid refused to bring her, but INTZ has no such...
Interesting on the site that it's not as impeccable, but it looks like they're going to use it like as if it were a kitchen delivery. Twitch Drone being lost early, too, is not great for Moringa.
Yeah, a really great use of the Mira is to assist roamers, to be honest.
Actually, that Twitch Drone kill even more impactful, I guess, with Mira in play here.
Absolutely. Twitch will likely be played every round, the same way she was in the first half. You got to bring her just in case the Mira's there. In this case, the Mira is there. 1 shock drone used up. Ness will take down Duds, though, so there you go. Lead off kill, and he gets a second onto VNX. So just Nesk doing Nesk things on the Ashe. Not usual to see him play Ashe these days, I suppose. But he does definitely bring her from time to time. He actually has a... I don't know what his main operator is. Let me check here. His main attack operator is Sledge now. So, yeah. And that makes sense. He has been bringing Sledge quite a lot. So it's interesting to see him on Ashe again. I suppose due to the lack of importance of this match, they're just going with preference picks?
I mean, definitely possible.
Palu trying to apply some pressure vertically here. He will find one. Can he get the kill is the question. Looks like no. Yeah, enemy manages to slip by. I believe that's intact. Still INTZ though struggling on this defense.
Yeah, this is definitely not working out great. I mean, there's a lot of good gunners on. Ooh, Paula, nice kill. I mean, you look at the operators on attack. Like, it's all 3 speeds or 2 speeds with great guns.
Yeah. Preference, like I said.
Yeah.
Just Boar and Drunks left on the defense.
Oh no, Nesk.
Now just Boar.
There you go.
He's playing in the default site, and he somehow manages to deny the plant, but he will be refragged. No flawless round for Liquid, just barely, but still a pretty impressive win there for them.
Yeah.
Now we're at 3-4. Still favor for INTZ.
Ooh, that one tap at the end there on the vault.
Yeah, very clean. Not covering the initial push through the smoke, though. Dangerous.
Yeah, a little bit risky. You know what, though? Definitely looking pretty attacker-sided at the moment. We'll see. I mean, that was just the first defensive round for INTZ, but it's looking like that's going to be the struggle here. And Liquid at least picking up 2 on their defense. You know, kind of par for the course when it's attacker-sided, the way this is playing out so far. Nomad actually potentially going to be brought here? Nope. I had a feeling Sex Kick might 6-pick that. You don't really need to hide a Capitao, but it's always fun to hide something. Boar actually get a 6-pick off of the Mira for Hookah here, which is, I mean, Mira's pretty strong for Hookah as well. Like, I mean, I know it was more of a penthouse thing, but it can be strong there to be able to hold from the Hookah wall into the billiards room. But it's not mandatory. But 6-picking off of it does force the Twitch pick. You were saying, you know, Twitch probably going to be brought every round just in case. Well, if you fake off of the Mira, that's a good way to make sure that they bring the Twitch. But I don't know if that really benefits you, unless I mean, if they're doing well on the Twitch, there's not a lot of point faking it out. If you know, if Moringa's going to gun on it the same way Duds does, then it's like, well, are you really benefiting yourself by tricking them into bringing it? I don't know. We'll see how Hookah, but this has been so far the only bomb site that's been won on defense is Hookah. And it's funny to think about. This used to be the worst bomb site when this map was first kind of in the meta. No one wanted to play this site.
That's because there was no meta.
Yeah.
The meta hadn't been defined yet.
And it was Penthouse during that meta, because that was before mirror bans.
It was just new, you know?
Yeah.
That's it. And yeah, it was before the ban phase as well.
I think a big part of the problem, though, with this site from attacker's perspective is planting. It's just, there's one spot mostly to plant in, and that's the spot in billiards. And it just becomes so difficult to make that push into such a big open area when you've got to worry about people behind the bar and people in Hookah. And I feel like a lot of the success comes from when they actually pinch Hookah properly, whether it be through the window or the door, to just pressure enough into Hookah that they can actually push in to billiards.
Well, Liquid doing their best here to attack onto the site. Clearing out underneath first, it seems.
Yeah.
Ness going to be putting his efforts towards that. This is not an easy clear usually, but because nobody's actually here, Ness will take it for free.
Yeah, might as well.
Don't think he was droned in there, but looked like they had enough information in the beginning of the round. Ooh, that's interesting. This is actually a Mozzie drone. So Drunks will have that on site, and he'll be calling out as long as nobody spots that.
He also saw the other drone as well.
There's an IQ in play, though, so that's worth noting.
Yeah, could spot that.
Well, INTZ have managed to hold out on the horizontal roam here. Nothing downstairs, but plenty of roamers over by VIP and Master, Penthouse, all that. But Firebolt's coming in to dislodge the anchors.
Oh, that didn't do as much damage as I thought it would.
Yeah, same. Drunk's going to have to move, but he'll survive regardless. And Duds will get the first kill here onto Moringa. Nesk does bounce back, though. Strunks goes down. It's site control for Nesk and Liquid, but he gets taken out by Boar by the rotation hole. INTZ keeping it nice and even here. Still a whole minute for these attackers, but Boar actually gains the man advantage before it is taken back by Palu. 2-on-2 in the final few engagements. Boar's been doing a lot, but he is finally forced to move by Palu. Sexy Cake coming in, attempting to get a plant down. VNX playing very safe by the A-bomb, and you see Boar just up and close. Palu will finally get him on the rush. So triple kill for Palu, great entry control there, and denial of the retake, allowing Sexy Cake to go for a plant. VNX doesn't seem to have information. He can hear the plant, but he doesn't know where it is, and Palu will get the final kill and a 4K for himself in this round.
Looking pretty good there. That's definitely going to make a difference that round because that wasn't necessarily the best play, just entirely focusing on the Hookah side. They really didn't have any pressure on Ak, which is not hard. If you know luggage is clear.
One person.
Yeah.
One
That's all it would
person
take.
does Aqua.
Just one flank so they can't focus on turning Hookah into a kill box.
But because of Palu's efforts and the 4K he managed, it didn't really matter in the end.
There's only 5 people on the other team, so if you kill 4 of them, it becomes a little bit easier to clutch that out.
Yeah. So good job there to Palu getting the kills, getting the cover, and all that. But it definitely was very dangerous there.
Well, while Hookah is the only site that's been won on defense, to be fair, Liquid also lost it the first time, so far INTZ aren't any worse in doing that. They're playing on par with Liquid's first half. But that's why it's a 4-4. So they're going to have to change things. They need to get in the driver's seat here.
And again, INTZ is fighting for so much more right now.
Yeah.
So, as much as they are currently in 6th, it's so much better to guarantee yourself not having to deal with relegations. MIBR, I mean, they're going to be playing a pretty hard match for them against Team 1. Team 1 currently finding themselves in 3rd this season. They've had a really great season, 7 wins, 2 draws, 4 losses.
Yeah, been very strong.
So MIBR has a rough match no matter what, and it looks good for INTZ in all different ways.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you're INTZ, you want to just guarantee.
And that's the thing, is all they have to do is get to 6 first to guarantee it, because the draw is still favorable to them.
Yeah, as long as INTZ get a single point out of this, then they're fine.
Yeah, so all they got to do is get 2 more rounds, and they're secured. And that's a good position to be in when you've shown definitely some capability to beat Liquid in rounds, but now that you're on defense, they got to play smart, and they really got to play a lot of good counterintelligence.
It's definitely been a struggle so far for INTZ on defense, and they've lost both of their defenses so far. This is only the 3rd defensive round, but it has been a rough one for them. It doesn't seem like they have as much control as they had on attack.
I feel like some of the defense's downside here is the bans in terms of losing 2 really important intelligence operators on defense.
Well, I mean, they've got so many others, though, like Valkyrie, for example.
Yeah.
Mira's an option. You can call Mira an intel operator if you want to. I mean, there's definitely choices for INTZ aside from the Maestro Echo. And I mean, they were bringing Amazi, and he was being very useful. They've decided to stop that.
That's what concerns me, is both teams not bringing the Amazi as often as they should, because that is something that can make up for the lack of Echo or Maestro.
Such a valuable intelligence operator. I'm guessing the reason they don't do that is because, spotting out the Legion trap there, I'm guessing the reason that they don't do that is because Mazi, you could consider him less useful on Coastline, maybe.
I don't know. He's so flexible as a roamer, though, too.
But because he doesn't do as much denial, because there's it's hard. There's not much to drone out here, right?
Yeah, there's a few choke points around site, so you can make sure that you don't get eyes on site.
But that's me playing devil's advocate. I don't necessarily agree with that sentiment or that idea.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I could see the thought process maybe. Sexy Cake going for the plant through the wall. Intact will use his gas canister to deny it.
Now, when that gets fixed, I assume it will at some point in terms of changing the way smoke works.
Yeah.
That won't be as effective, but for now, it's a strong defense.
Yeah, using gas canisters through the wall is definitely a good way to deny plants that are up against walls like that. Hopefully that gets fixed at some point. Sexy Cake on low HP because of that gas canister.
I thought he was going to leave that default cam up, too, just to be stealthier.
Well, suppressor working in Palu's favor here. Having it on your pistol sometimes very useful as a tool. Here come the bolts and the rush as well. Palu gets the initial kill on 2 duds by Vase. It's a really good pick because it allows Palu to rush the hallway. Ness gets an entry as well. He's got control of Cocktail Bar, and the plant's going down by Sexy Cake. No smokes anymore as the smoke himself is dead. Drunk's fighting back here, but the plant now down. It's a post-plant situation heavily favoring Liquid. And Drunks will get his 2nd, so that's really impressive, and he should still have some stims to heal himself back to full HP, if not better. Nobody on big window there, as has just been established by INTZ, and they will start for their actual retake. PSK is playing very safe outside, and Drunks, not healed up, will be finished off by Moringa. leaving just VNX and Boar. Now they have to retake onto an upside-down repel Sexy Cake, who gets one before being traded out. And there goes Moringa. It's a 1v1 all of a sudden. And PSK is nowhere near the diffuser.
No.
He has to retake into the site right now. VNX reads it, gets off the diffuser for some reason, so he cannot win the round. A nice try there for VNX. He'll pad his stats a little bit, but he doesn't have enough time because he didn't try to stick it. He had only one chance there when the Zofia started pushing in, and that was just staying on the diffuser, but he chose not to.
Huge mistake because he heard the goose go off. That's going to slow him down.
He heard the goose go off, which is why he got off the diffuser,
Yeah.
but he had no way of winning as soon as he got off the diffuser.
And that was the problem, is that was the mistake. Because that was, I mean...
Basically, it's like throwing the round away. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, if I get off the diffuser, I have a 0% chance of winning.
Yeah.
If I stick the diffuser, I have a 25% chance of winning.
Yeah,
You
and
got to
that's-
take that 25%.
And that's the thing, is the Legion of all people. He should be the one cognizant of that decision and what Legion minds do.
They do slow you down. PSK was pretty far away, but hey, whatever. It's done now.
Yep.
Moving on.
Need to locate
We're not saying that it would have been a guaranteed win.
Yeah.
Because I think PSK could have
Entirely
actually...
possible.
He could have shot the Legion. Despite...
Possibly through the bomb framing.
Yeah, probably would have been able to kill the Legion. But again, it's the difference between a 0% chance and a 25% chance.
It also might have been the case, too, where he thought he had enough time to pull it off.
We've been seeing a lot of players, like what we just saw from VNX, we've been seeing a lot of players choose the KD route today rather than the winning route, which is definitely really different. Anyway, kitchen defense now. This is the first kitchen defense for INTZ. INTZ have not been able to win a single defense so far through this match, and they've been really struggling on this second half.
Attack's objective is to defuse the bomb.
Well, even if Liquid get to 6, at least INTZ have the possibility of a tie, and since that's all they need, it's not a big deal. But,
I mean, a tie is all that. I mean, 1 point.
Yeah.
Then suddenly INTZ cannot be overtaken. But it'd be much more interesting, I guess, in the overall scheme if that doesn't happen. If we actually see the next match actually means something.
Yeah, that's true, and that's. I mean, I feel bad for the EG fans because I was kind of, in a way, hoping that EG would lose just to make the next match more exciting.
And you feel bad about the INTZ fans.
Yeah.
If that same scenario plays out here.
Yeah. But as you said, it keeps it more interesting.
It certainly does. Now, yeah, that wall, man.
I mean, you can hit through a lot of these wood frames.
Yeah, you can,
too.
but only through the edges of them.
Yeah.
Like I don't exactly know how it works, but
I wish we could visualize the hitbox.
yeah, I think there's like a something behind the wooden frame that goes like halfway through the edge of it. Nice shot there from
Ooh.
Palu, very clean. Good control of the SMG-11. Yeah, very impressive. As Drunks goes down, that's the man advantage gain for Team Liquid, and we're looking like another one of those just Liquid takes it in the end attack rounds. Again, we have not seen any defensive wins for INTZ yet. And there's Paulu's second kill again. He's really mastering this SMG-11 through this round.
Yeah, that's making a huge difference for him. I mean, he switches to L85 because he's fighting long angles now, but that's 3 for him in a row. Even with a goo mine in his foot, it still takes that engagement just to keep momentum up. And that's 3 members dead of INTZ. So right now, single-handedly, he is dismantling INTZ and making up for the loss of Sexy Cake. But it's looking pretty good for that 6 points to come up here. So far, Boar intact. A lot to fight against. You got to be protecting site at this point. It's not going to be easy because Boar is on the roam. Intact, the last one to try and defend this, and he goes down. It's all on Boar, and he's off-site upstairs. Going to have to rotate through courtyard. He does have at least a hole to fight out from, but it gets used against him. Tries to fight back, and fortunately for him, they are everywhere at once. Paolo picks him up for another SMG kill.
And that's going to be 6 rounds for Team Liquid. They are handily winning this match so far in the second half. A little bit of a struggle in the first, but not a whole lot to be shown from INTZ in this defensive half for them. So, all right, we need 2 rounds in a row for INTZ to guarantee themselves a, not being in relegation spot, I suppose.
Yeah. It's looking pretty good for Liquid to be able to take this, though. As Bar didn't work, Hookah didn't work, Kitchen didn't work. They're going to try Kitchen again. And I mean, Hookah is the only thing that's worked for any team, and because they've already lost it twice, they've just given up on it, and it's unfortunate. I mean, we saw 2 different attacks come out from Liquid on it. I mean, the second time it worked partially because of Apollo's flank coming in on 90. I think worked out pretty well in terms of helping cut it apart a little bit so they were able to take billiards pretty handily and then also flank on Hookah. But at the same time, I think it's doable. I think, you know, it was proven by Liquid, for example, it was doable. They won it twice. Yet INTZ going to Kitchen again right here. I don't know, it doesn't feel like the play. I think they'd be better off going to Hookah for this, what could be their last round.
Well, I mean, they're sticking to their guns, I suppose. They haven't managed to win anything, so you may as well just keep experimenting. Whatever works, works. I don't know. INTZ have looked really docile, is the word I'm going to use, on the second half. They kind of fell asleep after they hit defense, struggling a lot.
Unfortunate.
We'll see if they can bring it back somehow, but it doesn't seem likely.
No, unfortunately, it's definitely going to be an uphill battle because Liquid, you know, seem more warmed up now, especially when you got people like Paolo just going nuts.
Yeah, how much? 15 kills was it?
I think, yeah, he is really keeping Liquid ahead right now. I feel like if he wasn't on fire and the rest of the team was playing like it was, this would be favored towards INTZ right now.
Now, INTZ, just on the roam upstairs here, instead of a horizontal, they'll go for a vertical / horizontal. They got a little bit of everything here. But a pretty extensive array of control set up by the defenders as of now. Team Liquid have to clear that out as efficiently as possible. So far, a minute transpired and not a lot has really happened.
No.
He goes in there and misses. VNX eats a little bit of damage, but not a whole lot.
You know someone's behind that bar, too, thanks to the Jackal pings.
But, I mean, what are they going to do about it?
Yeah.
When they did miss, he's got one more. He can maybe do something with that.
For once, they're not bringing a Captao, and that would definitely help here.
Yeah, the Captao would be very useful by the bar, that's for sure. No guarantee that he would actually be there when they need them, though.
No.
Bulletproof camera in the hallway, being played likely by that Doc of Drunks. Paolo challenging the main staircase. There's no one there, as has been droned out by his teammates. He knows there's somebody on 90. That's been droned as well. Ooh, good angle here from Paolo, and he gets the first kill. Then there's the 90 player. Is he going to get this second one? Yes, he will. Beautiful job there. It's Ness to get the final kill, as it turns out, and it was a duo push from Liquid. But no matter how you look at it, it was a beautiful job.
Yeah, same push Paolo did last round as well.
So good clear of the top floor for Liquid. They've got control that they need, and they're going to be able to turn that into a site take in all likelihood. This should be it for INTZ. As well, again, INTZ have not really shown us anything to suggest that they have teeth to bite back with in the second half.
Yeah, definitely not working out so great, especially thanks to Paolo. I mean, again, he is the entry fragger 100% so far this match.
He's doing a lot from above as well, using those breach charges.
Oh, almost saw. There we go. You had to have seen him. There we go.
He's going to get some damage into Boar, but some damage eaten back. And Sexy Cake will actually get that kill as he's playing from delivery door. Here comes the push in, and another one for Sexy Cake, leaving just VNX in a 1 versus 5. He's going to have to do some serious work with that MPX, but he doesn't even look like he's going to get one. The way these tracers are coming in, Liquid gets the plant. It's post-plant now. Paolo put on low HP, but it'll be the final kill for Liquid. A flawless round. And they will win it 7-4.
A flawless second half for them.
Yeah.
5 attack wins in a row.
Not a whole lot shown from INTZ on the second half. Now, what this means for our Latin American standings is that INTZ can still be relegated. It'll be down to MIBR in the next match to determine if that's going to happen. They have to play against Team 1. That's going to be an interesting one for sure. Now, Liquid, with that win, they are going to be in a much better spot, I